Hi, I'm Nicholeen Peck, and I teach all over the world about parenting, good communication, how to build strong family bonds, child development, and education, all through the lens of the principle self-government. And in this video, we're talking about child behavior programs. In this video, we're going to talk about child behavior programs and what some of their differences are, and then we're going to talk about key things that you will want to look for to actually help your child develop a change of heart as well as a change of behavior. It's one thing to get them to stop being angry or crying, but did they have a change of heart? I know how to do it. Let's talk about that. There are so many different child behavior programs, and they are changing and being added to all the time. Some child behavior programs relate very heavily to the therapeutic world. Some people will try to help their child's behavior by going deep into the child's brain and asking them questions. They'll try to get the child to analyze the why behind everything they do. They may even, because of, asking certain questions, maybe even jump to conclusions about the child, but the focus is on the why, or the diagnosis. Even though the foster children that came to my home, so I had 4 children of my own, raised them to adulthood. I'm now a grandma. I also took in therapeutic treatment care, children for a lot of years. And when they would come to my home, they would always come with a diagnosis, but I would say, okay, that's their diagnosis. I'll keep that in mind, but they need to learn the skills for success that every person needs to learn. Otherwise, we're going to cripple them for their lifetime. And because I was so successful with these youth that came to my home, people started making TV shows about me, like the BBC made a documentary on me, and people started asking for books and that kind of stuff. And really that's what started it, is me knowing what makes good behavior training for children, even those neurodiverse ones that can be especially tricky. I was a therapeutic treatment care parent, but I didn't get so wrapped up in the why that we held everything back with emotional vomit all the time. Instead, what I did was we declared the why when we found it, right? Okay, this must be the why. So now we can tell ourselves, this is the why. My brain gets stuck on this. Or I keep thinking this thought because I haven't resolved it yet. That must be our why. Okay, so now what do we do with that information? Where do we go from here? And we would challenge our thoughts, and we would work on new things for how to solve our problems. I'll talk a little bit more about that, but before we get into what I think the very best approach is at the end, I want to just talk a little bit more about some other programs. So there's programs that try to appeal really heavily to, say, love and logic. But what I've noticed with a lot of those programs is they're often implemented highly manipulatively. And that's very concerning to me. I do think they're better than nothing oftentimes. But when you're telling a child, listen, I'm going to hold you in your room, shutting the door, and you're power struggling all the time by saying you didn't put your socks away, so I'm going to take away your socks and you don't get to have socks anymore. When you're going to that level, is it really logic anymore, or is it just a power struggle? Because to me, logic is when you say to a person, so just now you started yelling. What was the thought you told yourself in your head before you did that? Oh, was it that you don't think I understand you? Okay, well, how can we go to a place of understanding? Let's figure that skill out. Now, to me, that's much more logical work than just saying, I am going to make your life hard because my life felt hard. All of that is still emotional. And I'd like to pull away from the emotional and get into the cognitive to really solve our problems. That doesn't mean people aren't emotional. They have emotions. They need to know how to talk about them. But those shouldn't be the only thing that we do in our parenting, because if so, we're just going to power struggle forever. There's a new type of parenting. It's called positive parenting. People have their different takes on it. I even have videos on this channel labeled positive parenting because I really do know what a positive parenting approach is. The modern positive parenting approaches, though, I do not think really hit the mark. Many of them, they're trying to be so positive that they say there should never be negative consequences. We should just deal with natural consequences, never any synthetic consequences. Things should always feel positive. We have to learn cause and effect in order to change our behaviors, in order to not be selfish, entitled, or coddled, and not to turn out fragile. We do have a problem right now in our modern society with children who are coddled and turn out fragile. They don't know how to go through hard things. They don't know how to make mistakes and get over it. They don't know. And this is because they haven't had consistent teaching. So instead of coddling, we should do teaching. And if there is cause and effect, that teaching actually sticks better. So if you've already subscribed to this channel, then you know that I'm all about teaching cause and effect, because a person needs to learn how to problem solve in their own brain, and that cause and effect teaches and helps them develop that ability to problem solve. I also like synthetic consequences because they're fast. They're quick repentance. They get over them. They don't follow them around all day long or throughout their whole lives. And it helps them train themselves so that they don't make big decisions that have big natural consequences that are now going to hurt for a really long time. So are consequences bad? I don't think so. In fact, I have a whole app. It's called the Teaching Self-Government app. The app looks like this. It has this little family on it because that's my logo. And if you go to that app, there's actually a whole job jar function so that if your child earns an extra chore, or you need chores to assign to your children to teach them to work so that you can build their confidence and their character development, then there's a way to program in their age and all that on that app. So I highly recommend going to that, making sure that you are teaching your children that work is actually okay. Then start using extra chores for negative consequences. And you'll see in the app, it's not always a household chore. An extra chore can be something simple like, I need you to tell me the steps to disagreeing appropriately, which is one of the self-government steps that we actually work on. There are some parenting programs that really focus on being aggressive, dominant, militant, that kind of thing. I'm obviously not a fan of those, and they don't work. They really don't. It's not necessary to drive your children away from you, to create problems in your relationship, to make them pull back from you because you've gone out of control. What we should be focusing on is the parents being calm and the children being calm. And one of the key things that I would be asking myself with any parent program is, where's the parent's responsibility? Is this all about something you do to the child, or does the parent actually have to improve themselves too? Because if the parent doesn't have to improve themselves in the parenting, then it is a manipulative model of parenting. A good parenting approach should improve both child and parent. And are there principles behind it? That's how you know that the parent and child are going to have to change. What parenting principles should a child and parent have to all know? Well, there's 4 basic skills for success in my parenting program. These children's books each teach one of those 4 basic skills. They are following instructions, accepting no answers and criticism, accepting consequences, and disagreeing appropriately. Did you know that parents, in order to be good parents, have to give themselves instructions? They have to give themselves a bar and then stick to it. Did you also know that parents have to accept no answers when their children misbehave? That's technically a no answer. They should have a disagree appropriately mindset with everyone, children as well as their spouse and people they work with. They also have consequences for their negative behaviors that they have to accept. There are 5 parent skills that the parents and the children should know, because really a good parenting program that's truly self-governed is completely predictable. No surprises, no shocks of consequences. It's all known ahead of time. The child learns to accept the parental role and authority, and they learn the skills and principles that they need to communicate and solve their problems. But the whole thing hinges on calmness, which is actually a principle of self-government. Now, I've got 2 options for you right now. Usually at the end of a video, I give you 1 track, but I've got 2 at the end of this. 1 option, learn more about the skills and the structure in my next video, The Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success. Option number 2, go to my website, teachingselfgovernment.com, and start the free Calm Parenting Toolkit today. It's a mini course that will help you get started at learning to self-regulate yourself. Do you need calmness first? Go to the Calm Parenting Toolkit. If you need to learn more about the skills, go to the Not So Known Secret for Parenting Success next. I'll see you there.